2021 Committee on Aging meeting to order. Bobby, would you call the roll, please?
Cheryl Hentz. Heidi Bassford Kirkhoff.
Here.
Julie Kiefer. Julie Davids is excused. Bryn Seaman is excused. Lindsay Temple is excused. Julie Maslowski.
Here.
Judy Ritchie.
Here.
Mike Ford.
Here.
Mike Norton excused. Joanne Murphy Spice.
Here.
Jean Wallerman.
Here.
Please make note that Julie Kiefer just came in.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, approval of the November 2nd minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Citizen statements, did you receive any?
None.
Public comments?
None.
None. All right, then moving on, our speaker for today is Dr. J.J. Allen of Hometown Pharmacy, talking about navigating the facts and fiction of dietary supplements. Please make note that Cheryl Hentz is by the meeting.
Morning.
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 All right. Perfect. First, I'm going to take this off at the podium, but I'll put it back on as soon as I'm done. So I think I know pretty much everybody here, so I've seen everybody. But so first, I want to thank Judy and the group for inviting me, and I think I have about 15 to 20 minutes, and I think I have 90 slides in this deck, so I'll try to hit all of them. But I probably have over the past 4 years, I've probably given 30 presentations on dietary supplements. So obviously 2018, 2019, CBD was really popular. So we gave a whole ton of presentations on navigating the facts and fiction of CBD. And now with COVID and other respiratory illnesses, people are wondering about dietary supplements with the immune system. So there's a lot of things that are helpful and a lot of things that aren't helpful. And unfortunately, the place that most people get their information is from internet sources, and for dietary supplements, it's worse than general health information. Almost every source you'll find on the internet is a advertorial, so it's a ad disguised as an editorial for a dietary supplement company. So it's not that dietary supplements are good or bad, it's just that they're tools, and as a healthcare system, we need to do a better job of helping people navigate, particularly our older clients, because a lot of the supplements that are marketed towards older clients are junk and a waste of money, but there are certain things that can be helpful. So I'm going to try to, with this short time, help kind of some principles of when you look at a dietary supplement, what to look for, and then what things to watch out for, and then things to ask about. So, excuse me. A little bit about me. So I'm a doctor of pharmacy. I own Sawyer Street Hometown Pharmacy. I'm a certified sports nutritionist. I am involved in the supplement industry as well. So I kind of see the supplement industry from the front end and the back end. So I work with some companies on quality assurance, and then we look at third-party testing, and then we work at other things on the back end with sourcing raw materials. So I see from the back end, and then from the front end as a clinician, I have a lot of patients who are on medications looking to decrease their medication burden, first through lifestyle, but in certain instances, dietary supplements can be helpful tools. And that's kind of what my passion is, and what I view myself doing in my career is kind of helping people navigate the chasm between the traditional and functional medical systems. So it's not that dietary supplements, again, are good or bad. It's not that medications are good or bad. They're both tools, and we need to make sure we're looking at both areas. So the first thing I always tell people is be wary of simple stories. With COVID, there's a lot of simple stories online, and I think the hardest thing with looking on the internet is everybody has a voice. There's kind of an issue of not trusting experts anymore. In the dietary supplement industry, this has always been an issue, and the healthcare system hasn't really taken it on at all. There's a lot of clinicians that I talk to that do a really good job of helping people navigate the nuance. Then there's a lot of clinicians that just say, they look at any dietary supplement and say, it's expensive urine. And a lot of them are, but not all of them are. So it's something that there's a lot of nuance, and we need to do a better job of kind of helping people navigate that. So I think the first thing that comes up is regulation. So from a big perspective, I hear all the time that dietary supplements aren't regulated. You guys probably hear that too. When in reality, they are regulated. They're just regulated differently from drugs and food. So they're regulated somewhere in between. There's an act called the SHEA, Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, that regulates dietary supplements. The issue is, because they're regulated differently from drugs, there's an extra decision point to make for people. So I think the first kind of takeaway here is, because they're regulated differently from drugs, CBD is a great example. You can't always go off of what is most cost effective for dietary supplements, but over-the-counter products and prescription products, this is the case. So an example I use all the time, if you're going into pharmacy or a gas station, wherever, and you need to get ibuprofen, you see the brand name Advil, you see ibuprofen on the shelf. Excuse me. We look on the back of the box, it says 200 milligrams of ibuprofen in the brand name Advil, 200 milligrams of ibuprofen in the generic ibuprofen. And because ibuprofen is regulated as a drug, I know the efficacy and therapy is going to be the same between those two products. So then the decision point is, what's the most cost-effective product for the consumer? In this case, you're paying for the brand name. You're paying for the name Advil. So almost everybody I direct to the generic ibuprofen, because you're going to get the same result and you're not paying a premium just for that name on the box. For dietary supplements, this isn't the case. So unfortunately, even if you get recommended the correct dietary supplement that's the perfect for your situation, if you get a bottle that doesn't have what it says it has in it, it's not going to be effective. So dietary supplements, there's an extra decision point. It's a lot of these very cheap and fly-by-the-night companies, and even companies in big box stores that are just these cheap buy one, get one generic supplements, either not absorbed, they don't have what they say they have in them, and even worse, they might have things like CBD oils concentrated in pesticides, concentrated in heavy metals that could do harm. So for dietary supplements, it's not that more expensive is better. It's just that you need to make sure that the company that you're working with is a company that is transparent and you know exactly what's in there. And I'll list a couple brands at the end. There's thousands and thousands of brands of dietary supplements. So if your brand's not on there, it doesn't mean it's good or bad. Just know it's an extra decision point in dietary supplements because they're regulated differently from drugs, and it's really on the dietary supplement companies to regulate themselves. And I want to give an example of a dietary supplement. Has anybody seen anyone ask about Prevagen or marketing for Prevagen? Yeah, and there's a lot of dietary supplement companies that all they are is marketing companies, and they do a really good job of marketing. In this one in particular, it makes me very frustrated because this is targeted at older adults that might be on a fixed income, and they're targeting them with Prevagen for memory, which everybody wants help with memory when they get older. The problem is with Prevagen, there's been no data to show that it's actually helpful for memory. On one hand, there's no data to show that it's harmful. There's just this protein from this jellyfish that gets breaking down into different amino acids. It doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier, so it's not doing any harm, but it's not doing any good either, and people waste tons and tons of money on this. And the other unfortunate thing is some of these companies have so much money that they can even, so you see in the Pharmacy Times, you'd think that if it's the #1 pharmacist recommended dietary supplement, and the Pharmacy Times is basically the magazine in pharmacy, think like that that should have some credence to it, but it doesn't. So if anyone asks you about Prevagen, whether or not it's helpful or not, it's a general statement. It's not helpful. It's a waste of money. And this is kind of where the dietary supplement industry as a whole gets a really bad rap. Prevagen spends more money on marketing and legal fees than they do on creating a quality supplement. They do a great job marketing. Everyone's heard about it, but it's not helpful. And maybe they will prove it's helpful in the future, but there's no data to suggest that it's helpful right now. So that's kind of where most doctors, they see that, and then if they're familiar with the research on that, they just say, well, Prevagen, this company that's number one in the Pharmacy Times, seems pharmacists recommend, it's not helpful. All the other dietary supplements must be not helpful as well. And that's unfortunately just not true. So there's examples of dietary supplements that market very heavily that aren't helpful at all. And there's a lot of dietary supplements that aren't talked about because they're more commodities. And they're getting talked about more now, luckily. Before, probably 2019, majority of clinicians only talked about vitamin D in relation to bone health. A couple silver linings of different immune things going on is now we're finally talking about vitamin D and the evidence for the immune system and making sure that we have adequate vitamin D levels. But the reason you don't see any companies like Prevagen or anything marketing vitamin D is it's more of a commodity. Everyone can everyone can source vitamin D, put it in dietary supplements. There's not a lot of money to be made off of vitamin D. But vitamin D, there is a ton of evidence for helping to it's correlated with decreased outcomes in certain areas, and it's something that's super cheap and something that people should be familiar with their levels. And I'm seeing more prescriptions from doctors for vitamin D, which is good, and more doctors are doing vitamin D levels, and there's a debate on who you should do a vitamin D level in. My bias is more people should have vitamin D baseline levels done because there's differences in absorptions. There's not one size fits all approach to vitamin D, but it's a cheap supplement, and for people who are deficient, it can have a huge impact on health. And a big thing too is there's disparities among it too. So African Americans are disproportionately affected by this with their darker skin pigment living in the north. So even in the summer, if I'm outside, say an African American friend's outside, we have different skin pigment, I'm able to make vitamin D better from the sun than they are. So it's even more important that for African American patients, old or young, to get their vitamin D tested. And in the winter, it's generally a good idea to be on a vitamin D supplement. Somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 IUs seems to be the sweet spot. And always get your vitamin D tested. And as we get older, our absorption goes down, so sometimes that needs to increase as well. But it's just kind of to show, I don't want to get into too many specifics of examples in the dietary supplement industry where there's things that can be helpful and are definitely helpful. And then there are things like Prevagen that are heavily marketed that aren't helpful at all. I just want to make one more comment too. Dietary supplements, so unlike drugs, can be used in two different areas. So a medication is used as a pharmacological intervention or a therapeutic. Dietary supplements can be both used to, as their name implies, to supplement the diet. So some people in their diet aren't getting enough vitamin D. We're not making enough vitamin D from the sun. Might not be eating a lot of green leafy vegetables. Aren't getting enough magnesium. So we need to might need to supplement or supplement with food even better to make sure we're hitting these baseline levels. But another way dietary supplements can be used is just like drugs. We can use them at higher doses than we get from food, but they're a pharmacological intervention. So one that's not talked about that much, and I'm happy to see more prescriptions for this coming over for patients who have respiratory illnesses, is products like N-acetylcysteine. This is another one that's more of a commodity. There's not a lot of money to be made on it, but it has a big impact on various diseases and illness. And this is a dietary supplement. It's also a prescription medication, but as a dietary supplement, for most people, it's more cost effective, so that's where it goes. So N-acetylcysteine, the basic takeaway from this, there's products like N-acetylcysteine that can be replacement for over-the-counter products, in this case, Mucinex. So N-acetylcysteine does a great job of breaking up mucus, so anybody who has respiratory infection, N-acetylcysteine, there's not been a head-to-head study, but if you look at studies with Mucinex, which is usually recommended, there's not a lot of data. It's actually helpful. The most important thing is staying well hydrated, and in most cases, N-acetylcysteine is going to be better than the counterpart that's a traditional medication. And unfortunately, it's not talked about a lot, and it's finally being talked about now because of some things that's going on with viral illnesses and things. But there's a lot of dietary supplements that are better substitutes for pharmacological therapies. But because in pharmacy school, medical school, we're not taught when we see a disease or an illness, first think lifestyle, dietary supplements, then medications. We're just taught medications. We jump to a medication that might be less effective and might be something that has a higher side effect profile. So just something to think about if you have something going on before jumping to a medication. Obviously, we talk about lifestyle first, but a dietary supplement, and not in the traditional sense of supplementing the diet, but as a pharmacological therapy, can be a very powerful tool. So a lot of this is another. So we got some bad with Prevagen, we got some good with vitamin D, N-acetylcysteine, and other things. And I should make a caveat. This is for informational purposes only. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Just because I'm saying a supplement can be helpful, just like a medication for someone can be helpful, it doesn't mean for your particular circumstance that it's helpful for you. So make sure you have a discussion with the healthcare professional on it. But this is one product that tons of advertising on. Thankfully, I don't have. I have Facebook. I don't have Instagram or anything, but my friends who have Instagram and these other social medias, they ask me about all these dietary supplements all the time. For some reason, I think like 6 months ago, they might have had, this company must have had a huge marketing campaign because everybody was asking me about these golly gummy bears. As a general rule of thumb, if you see a dietary supplement in a gummy, it's an expensive gummy bear. So, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but so the way that these companies do this is they'll take literature on a nutrient, a food, a dietary supplement that's been shown to be helpful in certain populations. So for apple cider vinegar, it's been shown to be helpful to decrease postprandial glucose excursion. So basically, if I eat food and then I get a high blood sugar spike, apple cider vinegar might be helpful in making sure I don't get that spike, and that can be helpful for various things. The problem is the studies that they use for this, they're using 15 grams of apple cider vinegar, or like 10 to 20 grams. So if we look at the Bragg's apple cider vinegar, it's a lot cheaper, and it's something that one serving is 15 milliliters. For vinegar, it's a little bit less dense than water, but just for practical purposes, 15 milliliters is about 15 grams. So you're getting 15 grams of apple cider vinegar. If we look at this product, can't quite see from here, but the apple cider vinegar in it is 500 milligrams. So you'd have to, so 500, so you'd have to eat 30 of these gummy bears to get the same dose that you'd be getting in 1 tablespoon of this. That's half the bottle. So they use this advertising to say that, hey, apple cider vinegar might be helpful for decreasing postprandial blood sugar excursions, so might be helpful for losing weight, maybe, might be helpful for controlling blood sugar. So you should buy this expensive gummy because we have a tiny bit of apple cider vinegar. So when in reality, we need a higher dose for that to be helpful. So it's not that these are harmful in any way, it's just that it's an expensive gummy bear. I'd much rather have someone buy this, take 15 mLs of it in a tea or something before they eat, and then buy some fruit snacks and eat 1 fruit snack. Much more cost effective, much more helpful. So those are like some of the problems, and physicians and clinicians, they have so much to deal with, so much in front of them. They're a very reactive medical model that they'll just kind of altogether just say, well, I don't know. Sure, you can try Raleigh, you can try that. They're probably both junk. When in reality, one might be helpful, and the other one, it's an expensive gummy bear. I didn't have it. So that's something just to look out for when these companies are making these products, particularly gummy bears. And this one is not so much the gummy bear example, but it's just to know most of these things that come in these gummy bears or these chewables, in order to get enough of the nutrients in there, they have to have all the sugar and other things in there that it's impossible. So this is one, another kind of general rule. If you see proprietary blends, the supplement company's hiding something. So in this particular product, Airborne, very popular product, these gummies have this proprietary blend of 35 milligrams. First of all, that's a tiny, tiny dose, that doesn't mean anything. Second of all, the first ingredient, does anybody know what maltodextrin is? Sugar, yeah. So the first ingredient of their immune proprietary blend is sugar. So it's not so if you look at like this is just so example. So if you're looking at a bottle, and again, this doesn't mean all bottles that don't have proprietary blends are good. Just that's one way you can rule out products. Normally, if you see a proprietary blend, they're probably hiding something. It's probably not helpful. So for anybody looking at a bottle, if they got it listed out line by line, it's usually more helpful. The other thing I want to point out too, if we see the proprietary blend, it has 35 milligrams, and the last ingredient is echinacea. They have to list these ingredients by quantity. So of that 35 milligrams, most is maltodextrin. Then it goes down the line. So maybe 5 milligrams of echinacea. And if we look at a product that actually has echinacea in it, I can't see, but it's much higher than that, the echinacea that we need. So even though it has some plants and herbs that might be helpful, there are doses that just aren't helpful. Again, not that this is harmful, just that a lot of the products people are reaching for have a lot of marketing and just aren't helpful. So, I don't think I have I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this is just another example of looking at labels. So a lot of doctors are familiar with fish oil, and for certain conditions, it's helpful. And they'll say, go pick up a bottle of fish oil, take 2 grams of fish oil. The problem with fish oil, when they say 2 grams, is the amount of EPA and DHA is what you actually care about. Varies a lot from product to product. So this product on the left has 820 milligrams total of EPA and DHA in 1 gram or 1 capsule. So the doctor told you to take 1 capsule, you get 820 milligrams. But if you went and picked up this bottle, this one has 1,000 milligrams, 1 gram of fish oil, but in it there's only 120 milligrams of DHA and where is it? 180 oh yeah, it's right there. 180 milligrams of EPA, so that's 300 milligrams. So you're getting 300 milligrams in what you thought was 1 gram of fish oil in this one, and this product you're getting almost 3 times the amount. So, honestly, out of pharmacy school, I wasn't familiar with a lot of these concepts either. So it's something that, in order to take control of this industry and actually help people use this industry, it needs to be kind of changed from a more foundational level. But it's something that's just reading supplement facts box, just like you would when you're grocery shopping, can be very helpful. And it's something that even a lot of healthcare professionals don't look at and know. Another thing I want to point out, it's very important where fish oil is sourced. So this one, it lists the source. This one just says fish, I think, somewhere on there. So you don't know where it's sourced from. And if you're not getting a third-party certificate analysis, you don't know if it's concentrated with heavy metals, mercury. So it's just something that there's a lot of nuance here. And to throw all dietary supplements out as expensive urine is not right. But also to say dietary supplements, kind of like some more functional people do, is what you need. You don't need any medications. It's not right either. And I don't know everything, but there's a lot of things that can be helpful, and a lot of things that we're still learning about. So as a closing point, some big things to think about with dietary supplements is there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Just as you wouldn't take the same 5 medications that your friend's taking, you probably shouldn't take the 5 dietary supplements your friend's taking. And I talked about expensive urine, but even worse, dietary supplements can be harmful for certain people. So to go back to vitamin D, most people should be pairing vitamin D with vitamin K2, but there are certain people who are on certain medications, vitamin K antagonists like warfarin. If they take vitamin K, the medication is not going to work. They're going to have a lot of issues. So there's a lot of nuance, and who's ever recommending a dietary supplement to you should know all the medications you're on. So if you're getting a recommendation on a dietary supplement, they don't ask you what medications you're on, you should probably make sure you ask someone who knows your full medication list, because there's a lot of drug-nutrient interactions there. And for some medications, you need higher dietary, certain nutrients, higher amounts. Some you can't take at all. So just know there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Dietary supplements can be used to correct deficiencies or as therapies, like we talked about with N-acetylcysteine or vitamin D. It's not just to supplement the diet, but we really need to look at leveraging these more as pharmacological therapies when appropriate. And supplements, if someone tells you supplements aren't regulated, it's not true. They're just regulated differently than drugs, and there's that extra decision point to make when buying a dietary supplement. And a big point I want to make too, just for protection of the consumer, and I even see these in the local newspapers, is that, and I think they've mainly been not in there anymore, which is good, but about a year ago I saw, I think every week, there is what's called an advertorial, but it doesn't say it at the end, that talks about a certain dietary supplement. Maybe it's Bob's brain health supplement. And in the article, it looks like it's like an editorial article or review of like some data from Harvard. It'll talk about research out of Harvard looking at EPA and DHA, looking at choline, looking at all these other things that might be helpful for brain health. And then at the end of it, it sells a dietary supplement that has nothing to do with what they're talking about at the article. And at the very end, it says this is a paid advertisement. So it's very sneaky, and it's something to, if anyone brings you an article on a dietary supplement, look at the fine print in it. They're usually advertorials, which are paid advertisements that are kind of look like it should be a scientific article, but they're just trying to sell a dietary supplement in most of the cases. Actually, in all the cases. I've never seen a quality dietary supplement try to trick someone like that. They're junk. And then, close up, supplements are neither good nor bad. When used inappropriately, they can be harmful. But when used under the supervision of a trained professional, they can be powerful tools. So it's something that, this is what I love to do. This is what I love to talk about, is dietary supplements. And more important than that is the base layer of lifestyle, and medications are important. Other medical interventions are very important. But I feel like, not to be too preachy, but I think we need to do a better job as a healthcare system as a whole and help people to navigate this area. And I always get the question, what dietary supplements should I take? And I always have the terrible answer of, it depends. So in general, I'll just actually lay out some. In general, from a supplement standpoint, I've got a handout called What Do We Eat? We always look for the diet first, but most people, when you're looking to supplement, and this isn't looking at medications, disease, or anything, most people in the winter are missing vitamin D. So talking with your healthcare professional about a vitamin D supplement. Most people aren't getting enough magnesium in their diet. So magnesium is found in green leafy vegetables, pumpkin seeds, center of chlorophyll molecules. So most people aren't getting enough of that. So the first would be increase green leafy vegetable intake. But if we can't do that, a quality magnesium supplement can be helpful. Omega-3s, most people aren't eating a lot of the smash fish, sardine, mackerel, anchovy, salmon, herring. So that's where omega-3 supplements come in handy. Fiber, and those are kind of the big ones that most people should prioritize in their diet. And if they can't get them in a diet, the dietary supplement might be helpful. And then from there, it's really depends from person to person on what dietary supplement someone can eat. But I'm sorry, I think I went over a bit, but I want to thank you guys all for being here. And I think a good quote that I love to end is the greatest medicine of all is to teach people how not to need it. This isn't to say you should take medication, you should take dietary supplements. The goal would be to reduce both of them and help with lifestyle, but to help to navigate between those things is something that I think is very important moving forward.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for him?
What's your feeling on collagen?
Good question. So, the question, so collagen is something that's definitely very helpful. So for joint health, the most talked about dietary supplements, glucosamine and chondroitin. There's actually more evidence for joint health, particularly for preventing like arthritis and things, for a collagen supplement. And within collagen supplements, there's different types of collagen. So the type 2 collagen, joint health is very helpful. And then for skin health, for nail health, before going to like one of these hair, skin, and nails supplements, most people could benefit from adding collagen. And from the diet, you can get collagen from things like bone broth. So the farmer's market, there's a lot of farmers that bones are cheap. And if you make bone broth that has collagen, different amino acids that are helpful. So yeah, collagen, very helpful supplement. One caveat with collagen, if you are prone to kidney stones, high amounts of collagen increase the risk for kidney stones, so just something to be aware of. But other than kidney stones, collagen is a very safe supplement, and for anybody who has joint issues, it's something that's helpful. I take collagen, and it's the timing of it, most of the data shows if you do it before activities, like if you work out, taking collagen before you work out might be more helpful than taking it other times. But yeah, collagen can be very helpful for joint health, skin health, and even GI lining. And it's pretty safe. Just the one caveat is if you're prone to kidney stones, the high dose collagen can increase the risk for kidney stones.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anyone else? I'll make two comments.
Yeah.
One is, as I work with elders or even the younger families, is that I tell them that the pharmacist is supposed to be their best friend to keep them on this, to keep them healthy, because too many people misuse their medications because they're not sure of the proper dosing or timing or anything. And the other is, with the use of the cider vinegar, my dad for, it seemed like 100 years, it wasn't, but for a lot of years had, before bedtime, I think it was like a tablespoon of cider vinegar, a tablespoon of honey, and the glass of hot water. And he said that helped him sleep better. But, I mean, he enjoyed it. It didn't seem to do him any harm.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's lots of things. That's a really good point. There's lots of rituals and things around dietary supplements and even medications. The placebo effect, and there might be something to it, is huge. So if someone feels like something's working for them, whether it's even Prevagen, because there's the safety data is great. If it feels like it's helping, it's that lead domino to help them. So if in your dad's case, to help them sleep, it might have just been that ritual of making the cup. And for someone, it might be the ritual of taking the Prevagen, and maybe then that gets them motivated to do some different brain activities. That's something that can be very helpful, and I think dietary supplements for people can be that lead domino. There actually might be something to that, too, with apple cider vinegar and sleep. There's some data on helping with inflammation. So.
Well, and where there was a sort of a predisposition in the family on weight gain,
Yeah.
he's the one that didn't.
Yeah.
He and his one brother did not gain that definite middle-age spread or anything. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it may have been.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually have two more comments. I know somebody that's 104, and I asked him what his secret is to his wonderful life, and he said he puts apple cider vinegar on everything. And so there might be something to
apple cider vinegar right now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at Bella Vista, we're developing a healthy initiative for our residents. And I would love for you to come and talk to them, because part of that is an educational piece.
Yeah.
So I think it would fit right in. I think I'm really excited about it. So,
Cool. Yeah, I'd be
yeah.
happy to. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love. This is what I really enjoy doing, and appreciate all of you guys. Yeah, having me. It's fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you very much, and we definitely will be staying in touch with you.
That was good. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome to either stay through the rest of the meeting, or you can leave, whatever's
Okay.
convenient for you. Okay, moving on. Old business, does anyone have any? New business, discussion on current scams. Heidi, did you do any?
I do not have anything.
Okay. Well, given the holiday season, what have we been hearing about? The porch pirates, the notification that your package has been delivered, or that you still owe money, or all sorts of things. So it's definitely be very wary of what's going on. And there have been, not just in Oshkosh or Winnebago County, but it's becoming more prevalent. The phone calls to support the police department, the sheriff's department. Locally, and Mike, you can probably verify it, a scam regarding the fire department and T-shirts.
Yeah,
Do you know a little bit about that?
as much as you do, I just saw that the city put out a little release about that. But I mean, similar scam as the sheriff department scam, just fake fundraising.
So, it definitely is, be wary. Okay, if we don't have anything else on scams, Cheryl, did you have anything? I know you haven't been around for the meetings, and so we miss your input.
Yes, well, I'm sorry, there's been some things going on and I haven't been able to make the last couple meetings.
But, no, I don't have anything. I found this very, very helpful, so thank you for that. I don't have anything else. that I
Okay.
can offhand.
Okay. All right, then we will move on to other business, upcoming community events for older adults or other types of information. And we'll start. Heidi, do you have anything?
I do not.
Julie?
Yes, December 12th, Eden Senior Care, as Bella Vista being part of that group, is sponsoring a 55-plus night at the Celebration of Lights. And the first 100 attendees will receive a blanket. So I wanted to let you know about that. And this year, we're doing our second annual Santa Claus for Seniors. It's Edenbrook, Bella Vista, St. Croix Hospice, and Home Care Assistance. And so we're looking for seniors that could use a little extra love this time of year. I'm competing with the sirens. So if you have any one that you feel could benefit from a little extra love, we would love their name. The deadline for giving us the name is December 12th, and we'll coordinate from there with that. So I don't have a lot of flyers, but feel free to share them with who may be. I'll send it
What
out
was your
there.
55-plus night?
That's December 12th,
All right, thank you.
Sunday, yep.
Judging from last year, those gifts are some very nice goodies. and
Yes.
Well received.
Yes, yeah, it was a very rewarding experience, so.
Julie?
I do not have anything.
All right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's an event, but December 14th, we have our regular council meeting, but at 5 p.m. prior to that, we're doing our facilities review. So city staff will be reporting to us just kind of the status of all of our city facilities. So if that's of interest to anybody, you can watch online or you can actually come here. At 6 p.m., we also have the evaluation of the city manager. So another thing, if people have any comments about the city manager, you can go ahead and send those to council.
I have nothing.
Joanne? No new programs, no new,
We're winding down for our classes for 2021 and hopefully 2022 with the new resurgence of COVID, that we can still have classes. And I'm looking to spread Tai Chi and strong bodies into Oshkosh, so I might be contacting some of you.
Sounds good.
But we've had a lot of interest. I had 2 Tai Chi classes in Oshkosh, and I had a lot of people.
Oh, good.
So really, really excited about that and asking for more. So that makes me feel really good. And it's a great falls prevention and mental health, which those are going to be the 2 big focuses for us with the ADRC 3-year aging plan on health promotion. The big focuses are going to be on falls prevention for seniors and mental health, which although the classes have that element of it because of the social interaction that's built in and like small goals, makeable goals and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited actually. I think next year's gonna be good.
Good. Here at the senior center, we are doing well. Many of our programs are already filled, and some of them have been very successful. We had an event with Learning and Retirement that has been a wonderful success, where we even had to move it to UW Oshkosh, so just a huge response. One of the programs that is going to be happening and trying to finalize, the fire department is finalizing a lot of their information and media plan for their Mugs for Rugs program. So look for more information on that. We are a partner with them where a senior brings in a small rug, get it out of their house, and then they receive a mug. And there are different businesses that will give them coffee in the mug. So I do not have full details yet because they are still working out their final plan and getting the word out. But we are a site where they can drop off a rug. So when that kicks off, I'll let people know, and people can come to, I think there's different drop-off sites that they are confirming. So hopefully we can get out all the little rugs that people trip on, and just an awareness also of keeping hazardous things away from in your home so that there isn't falls. That's, I think, the biggest thing that the fire department really wants to get out, that message, so that they can decrease the amount of falls in their people's homes. So other than that, heading into the new year, I think we're continuing with our COVID protocols and the city's protocols regarding face coverings. So with that, a lot of our seniors are, I think, feeling safe and feeling like they can get out and still play cards and come and join in lunches and events and educational presentations. And so that has been good. So that's about it.
Judy, could I add something that I forgot about? GWAR is the Greater Wisconsin Aging Resource Element of the state, and they have a new highest level evidence-based program. It's a one-on-one program, and I believe it's called Healthy Ideas. And off the top of my head, I apologize for not being completely prepared. And they're just doing some training on it in the state, but it is for depression in seniors. And it works with linking them to resources and, doing some initial consultation and things like that. If anybody's interested, I really don't have anything to do with it, except that I attend a health promotion coordinator's quarterly call with the state, and that was brought up as a brand new highest level evidence-based program. It's not a class, so I wouldn't do it, but there might be people and organizations that are interested. If you want to know more about it, just let me know and I'll get you the information.
And as you're talking about GWAR, the Greater Wisconsin Agency on Aging Resources, our own Bryn Seaman is the new Older American Act consultant, caregiver support specialist. So instead of working in Scott's office, she's going to be working for us again. Different position.
Will she have an office somewhere, or still can work out of her home?
We don't have any details on that yet.
Oh, okay.
We just found out yesterday afternoon,
Oh, okay.
so,
She told me out of her home, but
okay.
Oh, okay.
And the reason she's not here today, she has an ill child.
Oh, I understand.
Tis the season.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things too, we just had a really great piece of information from Kate Mann of the police department. It says the Oshkosh Police Department was awarded national accreditation on November 23rd by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, Inc. Oshkosh Police Department was first accredited by that organization in 1994. We're the only municipal law enforcement agency in the state of Wisconsin that is nationally accredited by this group. So, again, we've got a wonderful police department. And Winnebago County Sheriff's Department is just going under all the processing for their accreditation for one of these big groups. So, great things happening. And I'll give this to Bobby and we can share that otherwise. Something that we also have had discussions about it at different times is, and actually JJ, you probably can really add a piece to this. Having in like a 10-day period, we had 8 overdose deaths, fentanyl suspected as the culprit. And how many of our seniors have medications that carry all of these different, well, that are the different things that the drug addicts are looking for. So, do you have a couple of comments to make on that?
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate on any of the overdoses, but to my knowledge, the overdoses of the fentanyl were, well, they have been in the past. I don't know about these recent ones. Were products that people thought that they were getting that were other things, say heroin or other narcotic, that were laced with fentanyl. So these wouldn't be instances where they would be stealing the fentanyl from seniors, but it is a I don't want to speculate, maybe it is, but it is a good point to make. But I think the recent overdoses are more that they're laced with fentanyls, not that it's pharmaceutical fentanyl patches that people are getting. But I could be wrong. I'm not familiar with those 10.
Okay,
That's-
and going along some of that line, having seniors keep their medications
Yeah.
safely, the safety in mind, any suggestions on how they should do that?
Yeah, so the most important thing is if you're not using a medication or it's medication change where you're not needing that medication, is to making sure you're properly discarding the medication. Your pharmacy will have a drop box. You can either take it to the pharmacy counter and the pharmacy will properly dispose of it. And if they can't dispose of it, the police station also has a big drop box, so to making sure that any medications that aren't current medications, to get rid of those, and then any medications that, no matter if they're narcotics or not, to making sure that you're keeping them out of the reach and even vision of people, of other people. So no matter who it is, it's best to keep them in a safe spot, whether that's in a lockbox or just a place that's out of reach of other people. And the best would be a safe lock spot if it is a narcotic medication. And so keeping the medication safe, away from children, away from any suspecting eyes or any even when you're at the pharmacy. We've had instances too of people get very close, so even talking loud about medications, if it's a medication that someone might be interested in, just making sure that the less people that are aware of it, other than your healthcare team, that's the most important thing.
I do know, Judy, that it is, the recent overdose deaths is exactly what you said.
Okay.
It's people not knowing what they're doing, what they're adding.
Right.
And then those drug things that the drug disposal
Narcan.
bags.
Oh, yeah.
I know that we gave you guys some. The health department has, I think, at least a case left that we're supposed to use up by the end of the year. So if anybody needs them, let me know and I'll drop them off.
Well, my son-in-law's a over-the-road truck driver, and he carries it because he never knows what he's going to run into, on those trips. So he was trained to use it, and he does have it. I don't know if he's ever used it or not, but it's just one more tool to keep people safe.
Yeah, and can I make one more point too? If someone is on fentanyl patches or high doses of pain medications, it is a good idea, just like you said, to talk to your doctor about having Narcan on hand. Just because if you have possession of those things, there is a possibility of an overdose. So Narcan is the medication that would reverse the overdose. So anybody who's on narcotic medications like fentanyl, oxycodone, or hydrocodone, to talk to their doctor about or pharmacist about getting a Narcan to have on hand. It's a
And
good
you can
point.
get Narcan from the health department.
Right.
Yeah.
I know my husband had it 12 years ago before he passed away, and the cautions were of wearing gloves when we were applying the patch and everything to keep it safe, and removing it. And I thought it was a wonderful tip. I actually had used that same process for something else, is again wearing the glove, but once you've grasped the edge of the patch, to pull the glove over and seal it inside of the glove. and then going through the rest of the proper disposal. Because, you know, even a tiny bit can be a very nasty reaction. So we need to keep those things in mind. Okay. And Julie mentioned Celebration of Lights. That's a wonderful activity that doesn't get, we don't have to get out of the car and see, it's gorgeous. And I was pleasantly surprised at working at the entrance hut. It was heated. After we all that were scheduled dressed for the very cold weather and then started taking a few layers off. But the people coming through have been really appreciative of the free nights as well as willing to pay. And this year, instead of the canned goods, it's hygiene products. So people are a little more confused about it, but a great need at the pantries. So, good deal. Quick reminder, as we head into the winter season, our committee a couple of years ago made the decision that if the Oshkosh schools are closed, we will not have our meeting. It's a matter of safety. Yes, weather-related. Any other comments or questions? All right, our next meeting date is January 4th, and our speaker is going to be Bree Good-Earl from the Amro Community Center, and a lot of the intergenerational programming and things that they're doing out there. So on that, I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Happy holidays, everyone. Stay
You as
safe.
well.
Mike, I'll talk to you for